So you're probably wondering, what is the guilt of productivity? And most correctly is the guilt of lack of productivity. We're nowadays living in the era where so many people are freelancers, they're working from home, they're working for themselves, and they have just quitted their 9 to 5 and they're trying to create a routine for themselves where they are able to be productive and create either their business, to work for themselves, become a freelancer, etc. And this creates a new imbalance in their life because all of a sudden they stop receiving to-dos and tasks from their boss, from their manager, and there is this gap that where you have to become your own manager and your own boss, which sounds great and it is great, but there is this problem that is created when you have to create your own routine and being able to create a productive life for yourself in a way that you show up for your goals and you also show up for yourself and you are able to execute them. A lot of the times we're trying to overcompensate with this productivity because we're just out of the 9 to 5 and we're trying to prove ourselves and we're trying to prove our worth and we're trying to prove that we are able to actually do this on our own, and therefore all this burden falls onto our shoulders of so many things that we need to prove and so many things that we need to do, and all of a sudden all of the things and all of the tasks that were open-ended into your head before and that you wanted to do, they fall onto you now as a huge list of tasks that you need to start doing, because if not now, then when? Now you have the chance to finally start doing the things, and now you have the free time to do the things that you've always wanted to do. So you want to have the glow up mentally, and you want to have the glow up physically, and you want to have the glow up spiritually. So you put yourself in a position where you're like, okay, you need to meditate, you need to journal, to go to the gym, you need to walk 10K steps, you need to read 50 self-help books, you need to become the best version of yourself that does this thing and does this thing, and you need to be able to travel, and you need to be able to explore, and you need to do this and this. And whoever of us, it's different, right? But we suddenly expect so much from ourselves because we have so much to prove, and this becomes a new form of dictatorship on ourselves and a new form of guilt when we're not able to show up for ourselves and we're not able to do the things that we promise to ourselves. And instead of creating this confidence and this newfound belief in ourselves that now I took this leap of faith to trust in myself, to be able to become this person, I took this leap of faith because I believe in myself to be able to do this thing on my own, now we have this just lack of confidence, like everything just falls apart when it comes to everything we knew, everything we thought we could do, like everything is a question mark. And so it creates a lot of insecurity and a lot of uncertainty, and therefore the importance of proving ourselves becomes even bigger. And there are other factors that come in play, like finances pushes us even more into the corner of proving ourselves and being able to achieve these goals and to be able to become the best version of ourselves. And when certain goals don't go, like they don't come to you so like easily and effortlessly, it all goes back to your worthiness and to a question mark is, am I able to do this? Am I worthy enough to do this? Am I capable enough to do this? And so that's why there's so many people that when they go through this at the beginning of being able to build this for themselves, they literally need to be alone because there's no other way to be able to handle this massive amount of restructuring and rebuilding. And I've been going through this myself the past few months on and off. I was always a person that worked, that didn't think of productivity as something, as a term that was in my life. It was just doing the things that I wanted. Whether I was studying, I was never doing it to be productive. I was doing it because I loved it. I made the process so beautiful and so it just flew. I never understood like all this pressure of productivity and just to do things, to force yourself to just push yourself to do things. Whenever I found myself pushing myself to do things and I didn't enjoy them, it never, even if I ended up achieving that goal, I thought of that goal as not significant because I didn't enjoy myself in the process of it. And therefore, in my mind, that goal was tainted. But the goals where I worked through them and I worked hard for them, but I did it through this flow. I do those tasks to get me to my goal through enjoyment and through creating these rituals rather than that forcing myself to be somewhere. It just ended up being one of the goals that I was the most proudest of. I've been thinking about this lately. I've been realizing that I've been pushing myself to be on the go, and to force myself to be productive and to squeeze out of me as much as possible, forcing myself to do all of these things, to do all of these self-improvement to-do lists, to do all of these physical improvement to-do lists, to do all of these career thing to-do lists, it's just been to-do list non-stop, and it's just so overwhelming and so, at the end of the day, non-productive, because it just creates all this guilt and all this gap that in yourself that you're like, I was not able to do what I said I would do. It just makes sense that you weren't, because you can't expect to build Rome in one day. These are things that could happen at the same time, but not in the extent and in the form that I was expecting them to. And there's so many people that struggle with this guilt of non-productivity, and it creates such a heaviness in your heart because your days becomes just a to-do list. There is lack of presence and lack of mindfulness in your day because you just wake up and you're on the go to start just ticking off tasks of your to-do list. And while you're doing that task, you are never present and you're never fully there. You're just thinking, oh, let me just do this as fast as possible so I can move on to the next task and like just get that task ticked off and just go to the next task. And you're just thinking a future and far ahead that I need to do this. I need to just get this done. Otherwise, like, I'm not gonna be able to sleep. I'm just gonna be thinking. I'm just gonna be feeling guilty that I wasn't able to tick off these tasks of my to-do list. So you're going from having a to-do list where you're not able to achieve and you create all this guilt around it and this pent up resentment towards yourself from not being able to do it, to then creating a to-do list that you are actually able to achieve, but you create so much guilt in doing these things that you are afraid that if I'm not able to achieve this to-do list, then I'm going to end up being on stage one where I was just not achieving my to-do list and I felt so much guilt. So the guilt is still there with you even now, even when you're achieving your to-do list, because all you're thinking, I need to do this, I need to think ahead of the task that I need to achieve too, because if I don't get these things done, then I'm unworthy, I'm not capable of doing this, and I don't want to go back to where I was. We don't understand that none of these situations is productive. None of these situations is the ideal and the thing that is going to actually push you ahead and to even enjoy the process, to be mindful and to be present. Because this new version of you, this new stage where you are achieving your to-do list but creates like a lot of guilt and just pushing yourself to just never be in the present moment, it creates a new desire for peace, a desire to do things but be fully immersed in them and be fully mindful of them, to do that task but do it with no guilt, to do it because of desire to do that. We forget that we're actually are the people that gave that to-do list to ourselves, and there's no boss, there's no dictator forcing us to do it. And we forget that this is an option, enjoyment. We forget that we can make our to-do list and we can achieve our to-do list and do it with flow, to do it with presence, to do it with us being fully there, and to do it with some peace of mind at least. It's honestly like so hard to imagine at the beginning when you're so overwhelmed, but you reach a point where if you keep going like this, you reach burnout. You reach a point where you're just not enjoying yourself. You're just doing things to do them. You're just doing things to get them done. And in the process, you forget to be mindful with where you are. And everything that you do, when you do it with lack of presence and lack of mindfulness, you are not doing it 100% because you are not fully there. Your intention is not fully there. Whether that's going to the gym and doing a workout, and if your mind is ahead 1 hour from now that you need to go back home and do this and this, you're not fully present in your workout, and you're not able to do a very key part of working out, which is to have the mind-body connection, to feel your muscles and which muscles you're working on when you're working out. You're just distracting yourself, you're just thinking ahead of your tasks, and therefore you're not able to be fully able to complete the task that is right in front of you. And I can't explain to you in how many ways how non-productive this situation is, but I believe that there is a way out of this, and I believe that there's a better way to do it. And I believe that only because I was able to do that in the past, and I was able to achieve my goals, and I was able to have full presence in it, mindfulness. I was able to achieve my tasks and do them in a way that they were rituals, in a way that it was just beautiful, in such a way that I wouldn't want to be any other place. The term of ikigai can truly exist if you allow it to be a possibility. Not everything has to be harsh, not everything has to be discipline, not everything has to be just go productivity, and not everything has to have zero taste just because it's good for you. You will end up creating a life that is just as miserable as your 9 to 5, and this is not the reason why you took the leap of faith in yourself. You took a leap of faith in yourself to create a life that feels as pure joy, and it feels like you're doing the things that fill you up and they make you happy. You did that for all of these reasons and to give yourself this freedom, but at the end of the day, you end up becoming a prisoner again. You end up becoming chained to guilt and to your perceptions of how things should be, and you are not free again. You are becoming the new boss of you, who's even more tough with you. So it's about learning to give yourself grace. So these are some things that I did that helped me do that. And these are things that I'm still practicing. The first thing you need to do is to redefine productivity from the output perspective to an alignment perspective. The old belief means that productivity means to be able to check off things off their to-do list, and doing that means that I'm worthy. The new belief is that productivity means to move in alignment with my values, and by doing that, that productivity equals to peace. This mindset and belief shift is very important to help you see things from a different perspective and understand that the goal is not productivity, the goal is alignment. The goal is not to prove to yourself that you're worthy, but is to prove to yourself that you can achieve what you want with peace and with flow. The second thing you have to do is to bring softness into your structure, is to be able to make basically those tasks, to turn them into rituals, to see them as something that you want to do and somewhere that you want to be. So check out, for example, your working space. Check your environment and see, like, is it something that brings me peace of mind? Like, it calms me down, it soothes me, this is where I want to be. For me, this plays a big role in where I'm being productive, to feel that I have a space where I can just sit and relax and just focus my mind on something that I'm working on. Always having a nice view helps. I used to study with my desk being on the window, and I was able to see the view of my mountains. And whenever things got too much for my mind, I would just look outside, and seeing far, it helps your eye to defocus, and it really helps even your eyesight to just relax for a second and to empty your mind, so you're able to come back to the task with more energy. It's also important to turn this thing into like a ritual, as I said, to have your drinks next to you, to have everything that you need. You don't need to get up all the time, to make your space as beautiful and soft for you as possible. And for everyone is different. For me, is to make sure even if I have a candle, it's at night, to have some dim light next to me if it's night and I don't want to have like harsh lighting. Is to make sure, even if I'm at the gym, for example, to have good music, or if I'm working at my desk, to have good music that will make me feel inspired. You have to see and understand the cues that make you you and your mind feel beautiful and feel like this is like satisfying and so dopamine hitting, like that it gives your mind the impression that this is where I want to be, this is so beautiful, this is like, it's just dopamine, it's giving you serotonin to be doing this task rather than guilt and just let me just go into the future and just get it done because I don't want to be here. Make that space and that moment as beautiful as it can be. Make it as beautiful and as enjoyable as it can be. And this way, that thing is going to turn from a task to a ritual. Another thing that is really helpful is to take back control with the language that you use. When we're speaking, we're thinking, oh, I should do this, I need to do this, I must go and do this, I have to do this. And this gives you, and this takes so much control and power away from you. And it just gives you the impression that you are forced to do these things, that you have no control and that you must do this and these things are imposed to you. But you need to reframe them and you need to understand that you're the one that actually decided to do those tasks. You need to reframe this and change your language and be like, I chose to do this, I choose to do this, I want to do this, I get to do this. And this, by doing that, you get to remind yourself that I am the one that chose to do this task. I'm the one that I decided to do this thing. And also, you get to do this task. So many people will wish to be in your position and to be able to work on their passion projects and to do these things for themselves and to do things that they enjoy. You have to reframe it and to understand how lucky you are to get to do this. How lucky you are you get to go to the gym. How lucky you are you get to cook for yourself. You get to work for yourself. You get to read for yourself. You get to journal for yourself. These tasks are not just something you're forcing yourself to do. These are tasks that you get to do because you know how great and how energizing they are for you. And seeing them as this way, as something that you choose and you're lucky and have the privilege to do, just reframes so many things into your mind and helps you see things differently and see them not as chores but as something that you're lucky to do. Another key thing is to do less but with more presence. And what I mean is that we usually try to multitask and we're trying to force as many things to be done together as possible, and to do them without any presence of mind, to do them without any intention, and to try to just skim life and to get to the next task as fast as possible. And what I want you to do here is to just instead do one task at a time and do that task by being fully there and being mindful, be present, and just literally immerse yourself into that task. And it's something that I have such difficulty myself to do. Like, I will cook and I will watch something at the same time. I will cook and I will be doing so many things at the same time. I will go work out and I will be doing so many other things in the same time. And this just literally fries your brain. How could you be present when you're not even like fully present into the task that you're doing? So I try to challenge myself and to see tasks as things that need to be done one thing at a time. I cook, I'm fully immersed in cooking. I am at the gym, I'm fully immersed in just doing that, and the only external thing I allow is music. I eat, I'm fully focused on just eating and putting all of your senses. What I mean by focusing, I mean putting the focus of all of your senses into the task that you are doing, and this means like fully immersing them into that task and smelling, tasting, hearing, seeing, touching, like feeling everything that is going on around you, and that will fully put you into the present moment. And that's why our senses are there, to help us be in that and to be our cues. A thing that will help you bring this mindfulness whenever you're doing each task is to basically ask yourself, how present am I doing this task right now? How fully am I in this present moment? And by asking yourself, you give yourself this moment to check in and to see like what is happening. What are the things that are happening on like right right now? Am I multitasking? Are my senses fully there? Or is my mind elsewhere? Am I just trying to get this done as fast as possible to move to the next task? And by doing that, it gives you that moment of reflection and be like, this is not what I promised myself I will do. Promise myself I will be doing one task at a time and I will be fully present in it. And that will give you that moment of reflection, that moment to get back and do that. So try to remember this question and to ask yourself this question a lot of times until it just becomes automatic. Like you don't even need to think about this anymore because you automatically get into mindfulness mode. Another thing that I try to incorporate is to teach myself and to teach my nervous system to rest without guilt, to create this balance and to not burn myself out. And this is by giving myself the grace to sleep in longer if I need to take some time in the weekends off to do things that are not work related, to take my mind off work and off productivity and things that actually give me back energy and they fill my cup. And for each person, this is different. What fills your cup could be like going out and playing a sport that is not something that you can do every day, something like tennis or pickleball or paddle or whatever, and that could literally like fill your cup. For me, it's like going out and going to a cafe, getting a coffee, seeing beauty around me, and even going to a bookstore, going to a mall, somewhere that usually it's like more curated, it has more beauty in it. That could be a museum, that could be like a nice beautiful gallery, or being in nature, going to a park. You have to know yourself here and to understand what is the thing that recharges me, and to make sure I make time in my week to do that thing, because I know it's going to recharge my battery. And even if it's not work related, it is in a way, because it's going to charge me and give me enough energy to go back and do my work more energized, more creative. My batteries will be full, my mind will be more inspired. And you have to see this as part of the cycle, because if you just give energy and you don't receive back and you don't put energy back into yourself, of course you're gonna burn out. Of course you are not gonna have anything to give, and anything that you give is going to be more stale than inspiring. So I really suggest bringing this balance into your life. And it's not just the Lulu girly, it's just so important to not be hard with yourself all the time, and to remind yourself to bring love into your tasks, to bring love into your rest, and to bring love into yourself, because you deserve to give and to get. Another thing here that I'm trying to do lately is to curate my to-do list and not to try to conquer it. And what I mean by that is to try to see that your to-do list is not your boss, is not your new manager that is telling you what to do, but basically now it's your support system, is your map, is where you go back to see the things that you intend to do. And so what you need to do here is to go to your to-do list every day and pick 3 main tasks that you want to achieve in this day, regardless of what happens. And this gives you the grace to understand that my energy needs to go into these 3 tasks, and the rest of the tasks that I still would want to achieve, I will be more graceful with myself and I will be more lenient with myself if they don't get done, because today I am trying to get these 3 tasks done. And it allows yourself to have more grace with you and not expect perfection, because if you put in your to-do list everything that you need to get done, you expect from yourself to do everything from that to-do list, right? And therefore, if you don't do it, you just feel guilty, you feel unproductive, even though you did so many things. You basically, by just putting a huge to-do list in front of you, you expect from yourself perfection. And that's not the goal. The goal is to achieve those 3 tasks and do them greatly, to do them mindfully, to do them with grace, and to do them with peace. And the rest of the tasks can also be done, but if not all of those tasks get done, you should be more lenient with yourself. You should be giving yourself more grace, and that those tasks, they can be transferred for another day. For example, if you have 3 big tasks that you need to achieve by the end of the day, be more lenient with yourself if you are not also able to cook and clean and keep your place in your apartment in a pristine form. You give yourself this grace, and it just takes off such a big load from yourself, and you don't expect from yourself to just be perfect. You expect from yourself to do the things that will actually put you forward and make you go ahead towards your goals and the things that actually matter. I think it's very helpful to do is to track intentional wins and not just finished tasks. And by doing that, you shift from outcome-based validation to inner celebration. So what are these intentional wins? At the end of the day, you should either write down or to take note and ask yourself, like, what is one thing that I did today that I did it with presence? What is one moment of grace and of joy that I had in my day today? And what is one thing that you did that you're proud of? Whether that was saying no to an activity that would have taken you off track from your goals. And by asking yourself these questions, you're able to see these intentional wins and not only the tasks that you got done in the day, and you get to see the change that you were able to incorporate into your day. Just being able to reflect on this, it makes you see how much more you were able to do in a day and how different you were able to be. By doing that, it allows you to see how you made different choices today than you did the day before, and how many other wins you have in your day that you weren't able to track before because you were only tracking and your mind was only focused on finished tasks. But if you're able to see and say to yourself, I'm actually so proud that I was able today to just eat without watching TV. I'm so proud that I had this moment of joy or of grace in my day. Just reflecting on this just sees how much you're progressing and how much you're becoming more mindful and more intentional with your tasks. And one final thing that I want to mention is for you to question the voice in your head that says that you're not doing enough. And you need to ask yourself, whose voice is this? Also ask yourself, what fear is this voice rooted in? Is it rooted in unworthiness? Is it rooted in the fear of falling behind because I'm comparing myself to other people and I'm afraid to be the one that does less or achieves less? And what would the wise and self-compassionate part of myself say instead? So you're able to go back into the root of the fear and put awareness and put light into that fear and understand it, where it's coming from, and to see that this fear is actually the one that is creating the guilt. It's this fear that is actually creating this imbalance in my life. And by soothing that fear and by calming down that fear, I'm able to reduce the guilt and bring more intentionality into my day. And I'm able to do tasks because I actually love them. I do these tasks and I achieve them out of love and not out of fear. And that shift is one of the biggest ones you can do in this game, because doing things out of fear and out of discipline, out of pushing yourself and out of harshness can only take you so far. But doing things out of love will energize you. And that's why we do these things. That's why you change your 9 to 5 in the first place, to do things out of love and not out of force, not out of fear, not out of limitation, but out of love. And love is what the Ikigai concept is doing things that energize you. And because precisely love is energizing, I want you to remind yourself that you're choosing presence over perfection. You need to remind yourself that doing less things but with intention actually brings you more joy. I want you to remind yourself that your worth is not tied and does not depend on your productivity. And finally, I want you to remind yourself that you're allowed to enjoy life and not just complete it. So that's it for today, guys. I hope this video helped you. Let me know how you feel when you try to test and incorporate these things into your life and how things change or don't change for you. I'm curious and I would like to know. I'm also on this journey of bringing more presence and mindfulness in my day. And truly, I understand what you're going through and how hard it is. How hard it is to be soft with yourself and not harsh. We need to remind ourselves that the goal here is love, and the goal here is alignment, the goal here is peace. And what we've been doing until now is being fearful, being harsh, being guilty, and not intentional. And this changes today because, trust me, the end goal, in one way or another, yes, it could be achieved, by being harsh with yourself, but it won't taste the same if the journey towards that goal was full of guilt, of unworthiness, of fear, and of just insecurity. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.